In a world where money could buy a slave, one man owned a stunningly beautiful girl from the Hu clan, and spent every day making her life miserable. What he didn't know was that she carried noble Hu clan bloodline. Only most of her power lay sealed away from a childhood trauma. A lord from her tribe had taken a liking to her and offered gold plus 3 premium female slaves in exchange, planning to take her home and properly discipline her. Li Yuanyi refused cold. You could offer me 10 slaves. Still no. The lord flew into a rage and beat him to death on the spot. And poor Tsufu was framed for it, accused of going feral and killing her master. The family declared her a public threat and vowed to have her purified. She tried to run and failed. They tied her to the village square, and the crowd started getting handsy. None of this was real to me, until I fell asleep reading this novel and woke up inside it. The book was called The Villain Heroines All Love Me. I hadn't even finished it. No time to process anything. I bolted out the door, and found Tsufu being dragged around by her hair. The crowd was pointing and jeering. Some guy shoved a wooden stick into my hand. Bro, I caught your runaway slave. She's all yours. Then a flash of gold light, and a small round robot appeared from nowhere. Called itself my system companion, Daodu. My mission in this world: redeem 7 female villains. If any one of them reached maximum corruption, 5 stars of blackening. I dropped dead on the spot. Right now, Tsufu's blackening meter was spiking fast. I froze. The guy beside me cackled and lobbed an egg at Tsufu's head. I shoved through the crowd and planted myself in front of her. Back off. Every single one of you. A Serpent Clan woman in the crowd raised an eyebrow. He was actually protecting Tsufu? Daodu flashed an urgent warning. The blackening meter was still climbing. That's when I realized how stupid I'd been. In her eyes, I was her greatest enemy. A sudden display of kindness would just make her think I was running a scheme. I dropped the concerned look immediately. She's my property. Nobody else gets a say. The crowd laughed and dispersed. Oh, so he's jealous. Thought he finally turned over a new leaf. I kept the act going as they left. Stay away from her. Anyone touches her again, I'll take the hand. Tsufu stared at my back, eyes full of hate. Her hand was wrapped tight around a jagged rock. Her palm had already drawn blood. The moment I turned around, she flinched so hard her whole body shook. A few seconds passed. Nothing. She opened one eye very carefully. I let out a cold snort. Get up and get home. Now. Daodu delivered good news. The blackening meter had stopped climbing. When she didn't move, I pushed further. If your legs aren't broken, get on them. Think I have patience to spare for you? She hesitated, then chose to follow me home. Not far away, the Serpent Clan woman smiled to herself. This one's interesting. On the walk back, I kept up the menace. Pick up the pace. Fall behind and I break your legs. But she was covered in wounds. Her body gave out. She collapsed right in front of me. Poor little fox spirit. Let me see what I can do for you. The moment we got home, I asked Daodu for the starter pack. 10 points. Barely enough to buy anything decent in the shop. I gritted my teeth and spent 2 on a set of women's clothes. Tsufu was unconscious for 3 days before she woke. I brought in freshly brewed medicine, and the blackening meter ticked up anyway. Daodu explained. She thought the medicine was poisoned. I had to keep up the performance. Want to die in this room? Don't drink it. I'll drag you outside. She grabbed the bowl and drained it fast, then fixed me with a death stare. What are you planning now? Inside her head, he got knocked out because of me. He won't let this go. Maybe I should end it myself first. I sensed her intent. I threw the new clothes onto her head. Stop with the dramatic thoughts. Die on me and I'll still desecrate the corpse. Then I carried in a tray of food. New clothes. Hot meal. You'd better be grateful, understand. Up in the rafters, a green serpent had been watching the whole time. Still as rotten as ever. Nothing's changed. The serpent slipped away. Outside the room it took human form. That Serpent Clan woman from before. She tilted her head, puzzling. That day at the square, something felt different about him. But if he goes back to abusing Tsufu, I'll have my opening. She was still thinking when 2 women called out her name from behind. Xiao Yuan. Come pick fruit with us. Xiao Yuan turned with a bright smile. Sure. Inside, I was pouring scorn on Tsufu for the act. What, you thought any random piece of trash could become a slave? Change into the new clothes. Don't embarrass the Li family. And eat every last bite of that food. Not a grain left. Somehow, the blackening meter went up by 1. I mentally screamed. Being mean to her doesn't work either? High maintenance doesn't begin to cover it. Daodu said I wasn't being convincing enough. She still suspected the food was poisoned. I casually reached into the bowl and pulled out a drumstick. Oh right, I forgot about this. You don't deserve drumsticks. I took a bite. Honestly, the food's fine. You just ruined my appetite by existing. I slammed the door on my way out. Only after I left did Tsufu finally lower her guard. She grabbed the chicken and tore into it like she hadn't eaten in days. Maybe she hadn't. Somewhere in the middle of eating, her face crumpled and she started crying. Daodu pulled up the real-time feed and pointed out the blackening meter had dropped. I muttered to myself, such a beautiful fox spirit. And the original owner was treating her like this. What is wrong with that man? I caught my reflection in the water vat and remembered. That man was technically me now. Li Yuanyi had gone months without bathing. I winced and spent 1 point on a bath kit. then another on a first aid pack for her wounds. I approached her door later. Figured she'd have finished eating by now, and kicked it open. She startled, chopsticks freezing in place. Something about the sight of her sat wrong with me. Right, she was injured. Eating would be slower. I made myself stay in character. Sit down and finish. The dog I keep doesn't dare leave scraps. You remember what happens when you forget your place. She stared up at me with wide eyes, looking miserable, and kept eating. From the corner of her eye she watched me dig around in my pocket. She braced herself, convinced I was about to do something horrible. Then she jerked and her eyes went glassy with tears. She was sure I was rubbing something toxic into her wounds. She thought, he's still the same Lee Yueni, rotten to the core. But I was applying alcohol from the first aid kit. I didn't explain. I needed her to think I was torturing her. Keep eating. Don't you dare stop. Give me the injured hand. Every wound needed to hurt a little. I worked through them all. When she finished eating, I stood up to leave. Medicine's done. I'm going out. Xiufu looked back at me, bewildered. Tonight she'd have to sleep on the cold floor again. But there was something warm in her chest that hadn't been there before. Tomorrow, when she woke up and her wounds felt better, she'd figure it out. The blackening meter would drop for sure. Dowdu took the opportunity to explain the point system. 2 tracks for each villain. Blackening and affection. 5 blackening stars meant full corruption. 5 affection stars meant full redemption. 3,000 points per star. I only had 7 left. But I'd been so good to her that tomorrow I'd easily earn 100. Right? Wrong. Next morning, 0 points earned. I was spiraling. Then I caught the smell coming from my own shirt. Right? I'd been so focused on her yesterday that I forgot to bathe myself. A plan formed. What if Xiufu saw a clean, sharp-looking me being gentle and warm? Wouldn't the affection meter shoot up? Feeling inspired, I grabbed my wash kit and headed out for a proper scrub. Some time later, Xiufu heard the door open. A sparkling, clean, actually handsome young man walked in. She stared. You are? I tilted my head with a grin. Looking good. Pretty stunning, right? Admit it. The moment she recognized me, she went straight back to full alert. The blackening meter wobbled. I wanted to scream. I had at least half a legendary face going here. And she was still side-eyeing me? I flipped it around. If a beautiful woman suddenly got warm and friendly with me out of nowhere, I'd assume she was after something too. So I kept acting. I exploded at her. Why are you still wearing those rags? Are you saying you don't like the clothes I gave you? Or do you want the whole clan laughing at how cheap the Lee family is? She froze in place, watching me carefully. I roared. What are you staring at? Go change. Now. But she said quietly, it's time for me to start cooking. I grabbed her hand. No cooking today. Stay home and think about what you've done. I shoved her back gently and stormed out. At the door she craned her neck to watch me go, then turned to look at the folded outfit. Replaying the last 2 days in her head. She'd let her master die. She'd tried to escape. By any logic, he should have killed her. So why new clothes? Why is my wound better than yesterday? Was he actually concerned about me? A small devil version of Xiufu popped up in her own head. Are you stupid? You think someone who beats you every day is suddenly being kind just because he skipped a beating today? She slapped her own cheeks. Right? People don't just change. He's setting a trap. Don't fall for it. Outside, I was betting with Dowdu. The moment she puts on the pretty clothes and smiles, the affection meter goes up, obviously. Dowdu regretfully informed me. Xiufu's blackening just went up another 0.03. I collapsed face first on the ground. Find someone else for this job. Dowdu gently told me we'd both die if I quit. A few minutes later I walked in with an armload of firewood. She still hadn't changed. I slammed the firewood down in rage. Wash up and change. What, you don't like the style I picked? It's not that. She crouched down, startled, reaching to pick up the scattered wood. Who told you to pick that up? You split your wounds open. I have to pay for another doctor. She asked quietly. Then what should I do? I told her to go clean up. Bathe. Come out spotless. She nodded and went. He really hasn't changed, she thought. I was actually hoping otherwise. 5 minutes later I had the bath water ready and was shoving her toward it. When she hesitated I teased. Other people's servants are 10 times better than you. Trust me, nobody wants to look. Only after I walked out did she let her guard down. She soaked in the wooden tub, face full of worry. Outside, I vented to Dowdu. 1 Xiufu and I'm already barely coping. What am I supposed to do with 6 more? Dowdu comforted. Once you fully redeem all 7 villains, you'll have the 7 most powerful warriors in the world. I raised a thumb. Fair point. An hour later Xiufu emerged bathed and changed. She was stunning. I kept my face completely neutral. Acceptable. Barely passable. Inside I was already planning a wardrobe upgrade and 50 outfit options. She spiraled immediately. Even this wasn't good enough? I yawned. Going to rest. When you're done in there, come in and stand guard while I sleep. Keep me safe. I pinched her cheek in warning. If I wake up at any point and you're gone, I will not be forgiving. I paused before going in and turned around. Also, no chores until further notice. If your wounds get worse, I have to spend money on a healer. She watched me close the door and slowly untangled the logic. Oh, he's just worried about wasting money, that's all. As reasoning went, it was bleak. But she thought about it, and then quietly sat down on the floor and cried. She hadn't run. She was alive. And the days weren't quite as hard as before. I watched through the crack in the door. Dowdu. Blackening value has dropped significantly. I grabbed Dowdu in a hug. At this pace we'll get there. We absolutely will. Looking at her through the doorway, I felt something settle. Silly girl. I'm not the Li Yuani who used to hurt you. One day you'll understand. I'm genuinely in your corner. Just as I was closing my eyes to sleep, I heard a soft sound. I opened them. Fu was sitting at the edge of the bed. What are you doing? She looked confused. You told me to protect you. I scrambled back toward the headboard. You've got nerve, don't you? But glancing at her current expression, something about it made me pause. I kept the act going. I shoved her off the bed dramatically. This mattress is too soft. I'm sleeping on the floor tonight. She opened her mouth to say something, then watched me hit the floor and immediately pass out. Fu felt something ease in her chest. She fell asleep fast and dreamed of the worst memory she had. Her village burning. Her parents sacrificing themselves so she could run. She ran, but someone caught her from behind. A blow to the back. She went down hard. When she woke up, she was in a cage. A slave. The pain of the dream made her convulse. I called her name. No response. The blackening meter was slowly rising. She must have been reliving her past. A girl with noble Hu clan blood, sold into slavery as a child. Broken over and over. According to the original story, the trauma sealed most of her power away. Left her as she was now. Someone the world walked over. I reached out and gently wiped the tears from her eyes. Then I noticed the wound on her leg still hadn't healed properly. Without a second thought, I pulled out the first aid kit and started carefully applying the medicine. She trembled with pain. Her eyes stayed shut. She seemed to still be asleep. I kept going because she needed it. In truth, Fu was wide awake. She thought, what is this person doing to me now? It hurts. He forced food on me all day, gave up the bed at night. Is this to lower my guard before poisoning me? When I finished and walked back to sleep, she exhaled a long breath, but she couldn't help opening her eyes. If you're going to kill me, make it quick. Stop with the slow torture. She felt around under the blanket for the sharp shard she'd hidden. She aimed it at my neck. Might as well. Then the wound started to itch. She looked down. The skin had already begun to close over. Healing medicine. For the first time, her affection meter moved upward. The next morning, Dowdu woke me with alarm. We have a problem. The original male lead, Shi Tianrui, has also transmigrated into this world. The news hit me like 5 lightning bolts at once. That face, that emotional intelligence, that protagonist's halo following him everywhere. Dowdu added urgently, his system is called Schweiding. If he redeems all 7 villains before you do, the main system will eliminate us both. I took a breath and actually thought about it. No reason to panic. I gained over 30 points last night. My approach was working. He still had to get through me to reach Fu. I walked to her bedside. She was still sound asleep. I reached down and lightly touched her hair. Sweet little fox. Sleep well. Stay home and wait for me. I tiptoed out the door. Inside, Fu, who had been fake sleeping, opened one eye with a puzzled look. What's he playing at today? 10 minutes later, I was out in the open field, humming to myself, already plotting. Next time I take Fu out and stage a classic hero saves the day moment. While I was daydreaming about the plan, the bushes behind me rustled. I spun around. Found you. Come out. 3 women stepped out. The Serpent Clan one smiled. Relax. We're from the same tribe. We heard someone absolutely massacring a song in the woods. And here you are. You're Li Yuani, right? Saw you at the square the other day. I coughed and waved it off. Thought the place was empty. Sorry for the noise. The 2 women behind her whispered to each other. Didn't they say Li Yuani was ugly and mean? He actually looks pretty clean-cut in person. I cleared my throat with dignity. Louder, please. I appreciate it. The serpent woman laughed. You've really changed since before. I asked their names. Aining. Zhang Shui. The one in front handed me a melon. I'm Xiao Yuan. We just picked these. They're very sweet. I said the polite thing, but my hand was already reaching out to take it. Xiao Yuan added. We got plenty more. You should bring some back for your slave to try. I snapped back into character immediately. My slave? A slave doesn't get to try anything. She doesn't deserve it. As the 3 turned to go, Xiao Yuan glanced back at me with an unreadable look. Li Yuani. Goodbye. I waved politely, then turned to Dowdu. Is there a beauty named Xiao Yuan in the original story? Dowdu searched. Not in your target list. Maybe your charm attracted a new character. I grinned. I was thinking the same thing. Back home, I went to the kitchen to start dinner, only to find the fire starter had run out. I spent 1 point in the shop for a lighter. Was feeling pretty smug about showing these people the wonders of modern technology. when Xiufu pushed the kitchen door open. I heard you were in the kitchen. I stomped my foot over the lighter in panic, then caught myself. What does that have to do with you? She said softly. I'm here to cook. I grabbed a stick of firewood. I'm practicing fire by friction. Mind your business. I rubbed for a full minute. Not even a spark. The embarrassment was real. Xiufu quietly crouched down beside me and picked up a piece of wood. Let me. Her right hand lit with a small flame from her palm. Every log in the stove caught fire instantly. I stared. Was that magic? Her expression fell a little. My power still hasn't recovered. But lighting a small fire, I can still do that. I'd known this was a fantasy world, but seeing it firsthand still hit different. I got excited and grabbed her skirt hem. Does it require hand signs? A chant. She blinked. You just concentrate the energy and direct it mentally. You've always started fires this way? Does the flame hurt your fingers? She looked baffled. It doesn't hurt. Is there a cost to using it? Can I learn it too? Can you do water, metal, lightning? This must be incredibly environmentally efficient. No wonder this world never developed technology. She was pelted by questions from every direction. Thoroughly bewildered. What is this person talking about? But somewhere in the middle of the confusion, she found it kind of endearing. The little devil in her head immediately jumped up and knocked her on the skull. Are you out of your mind? You haven't forgotten how she treated you all these years, have you? This is all an act. Xiufu shook herself. Her feelings were a mess. She was right that he was acting differently these last 2 days. But my attention had already shifted. Daodu had told me affection points could be exchanged for skills. Unfortunately, my 46 points only covered one. Danger premonition. 10-second advance warning. Didn't seem like much. And upgrading it was expensive. While Xiufu cooked, she kept sneaking glances at me. She'd somehow gotten cute without the constant hostility. And there was a clean, warm smell about her. She got so distracted the pot nearly boiled over. I noticed her face cycling between red and pale and panicked she was about to blacken. I pulled out the melon from earlier. She blinked. Where did that come from? Found it while gathering wood this morning. The fruit-picking girls gave it to me. Said it was sweet. Xiufu's expression shifted. Girls gave it to you? I still hadn't picked up on her tone. Naturally. You women love sweet things. Right? I don't like sweet food. Keep it. She snapped the lid onto the pot. I blinked, caught off guard, but held the line. What I give, you don't get to refuse. I put the melon down and told her to focus on cooking. Then made my escape, blaming the cooking fumes. Outside, I exhaled and asked Daodu for a status update. Some emotional turbulence from Xiufu, but it's not blackening. I relaxed. Fine then. Back in the kitchen, Xiufu was glaring at the melon on the table. Girls just hand things to you and you take them from anyone, huh? She didn't register that she was jealous. I was outside grumbling at the panel. Limited functions and the points were this hard to earn. How was I supposed to compete with the actual male lead? Daodu encouraged. Once all 7 villains appear, points will come rolling in naturally. I daydreamed about that for a moment, then remembered that just one Xiufu was already nearly breaking me. This astronomical windfall might be more than I can handle. That afternoon at the village square, Elder Xiufu announced the winter assignments. Female slaves, cotton picking. Male slaves, hunting. Second-rank warriors, protect all female slaves. I scanned the crowd. One look and I found her. She stood out from everyone around her. I made exaggerated faces at her through the crowd. She puffed up her cheeks and turned her head. Completely ignored me. I scratched my head. Really? I just gave you a melon yesterday. How long does the villain act have to last? 5 days passed in a blur. I went to Elder Xiufu to demand answers. Everyone else's female slaves had come back. My Xiufu hadn't even left a shadow. He'd better explain himself. Xiufu brought over a guard and pressed him. The guard confessed, reluctantly. Not my fault. She was antisocial, got excluded by the group, ended up picking cotton alone in a corner. Then she apparently got grabbed by the Dark Clan. I seized him by the collar. And you're telling me this now? The guard stood firm. I was there to supervise their labor, not babysit them. If she wandered off alone, who's to blame? Slaves aren't rare. Just buy another one. I hauled back and swung on him. Useless garbage. He blocked. Xiufu stepped in to break it up while onlookers whispered. No Xiufu and he's losing it. Makes sense. Too broke to afford a replacement. I shook the guard off and announced to the crowd at full volume. Xiufu was taken. She isn't dead. I'm bringing her back. The square erupted in laughter. Going to war over one slave. So dramatic. I went home and started rummaging for weapons. Daodu reminded me, your arrival hasn't changed the plot point where Xiufu gets captured. But if we rescue her before Shi Tianrui does, we take the lead. At that moment outside the village gates, Shi Tianrui's system had just flagged. Another system detected in this world. Location unknown. He guessed it was Xiufu's useless owner, who should have died days ago but somehow hadn't. Think it's him. Schweiding told him not to worry. A big character side role was no real threat. The story's great arc would always revolve around the protagonist. Shi Tianrui smiled. Afraid of a cannon fodder extra? Please, Once I rescue Tsufu, she'll travel the world with me, far from the master who only ever hurt her. She'll be grateful. She'll become a gentle lamb. I was packing my bag and sneezed out of nowhere. Who's out there calling me a lamb? Somewhere in a dark underground cave, Tsufu was chained in a cell. 3 Dark Clan women had gathered around her. The Dark Clan, a cursed lineage abandoned by gods and light alike. No other tribe would accept them. They wandered in perpetual exile, sinking deeper into lightless dark. One of the women clutched her stomach and stared at Tsufu with naked hunger. Boss, I can't hold out. Let me just slice off a little piece. See what she tastes like. She reached out and had her knife yanked away by a purple-haired woman. I know you're hungry. Hold it together. Look at this girl. Look how beautiful she is. She'd be wasted on a blade. The purple-haired woman tapped Tsufu's cheek lightly with the flat side of the knife. Skin like this, it'd be a crime to cut into it. I was this beautiful when I was young. She looked up and laughed. In the next moment, something ignited in Tsufu's eyes. Back at the village gate, someone was trying to stop me. The Dark Clan roams just outside the walls. You go out alone at night with no warriors. You're asking to die. You don't even like Tsufu. Why risk yourself? I came up with an absurd justification. She's my slave. If the Dark Clan defile her, what's left of my reputation? He looked pained. I'm saying this because I was close with your father. You're throwing your life away over your face. Here, I'll let you pick from my own slaves. Your choice. I shrugged it off. My slave. My call. Actually, Elder Tsufu seems like a decent person. Even Li Yuani had someone looking out for him. But no sooner had I taken a few steps outside than a chill crept up my spine. I spun around. Nothing there. Daodu suggested I finally activate the danger premonition skill. In a situation like this, it could be a lifesaver. I hesitated. While I was still trying to negotiate the price, a red-black shadow flashed across my vision. In the next second, I ceased to exist in that spot. When I opened my eyes, I was inside a dim cave. Daodu congratulated me. The second female villain had just kidnapped me, the Dark Clan Queen, and she was heading this way. Before I could find even a mouse hole to hide in, she pounced. The woman pinning me to the ground had a presence like carved ice, something in her eyes that didn't invite argument. She was the most extreme Yandra type. Her cold fingertips traced my cheek. I said nervously, "You're very beautiful, but..." She cut me off. "Oh good, you're awake. How about we make a baby?" I almost thought I'd misheard. I scrambled back several inches. That kind of thing requires the right timing, place, and feeling. But my real panic was somewhere else entirely. I come to rescue Tsufu. If the queen suddenly blackened to max right now, I dropped dead where I stood. The Dark Clan Queen's blackening meter was rising anyway. I was already getting a headache. I thought fast. Do you have any brothers or sisters? Think about why there's only you. She actually stopped. Why is there only one of me? I smiled gently. Exactly. These things require timing, place, and feeling, and all 3 must align. Without any one of them, she leaned in curiously. Then explain what all 3 mean. I genuinely did not know where to begin. So I started with, were your parents very in love? Were your parents very in love? Yes, they were the most devoted pair in the world. Their status alone should have kept them apart. Exactly. Only 2 people who are truly, deeply in love could possibly. And we've only just met. Wouldn't we need to develop some feelings first? She pulled out a small notebook and started taking notes, then looked up at me with pure admiration. You know so much. She was enthusiastic. Sincerely so. She even confessed outright. I like you. From the moment I saw you protecting that female slave, I liked you. My stomach dropped. That moment, she'd already seen Tsufu. She smiled and held up 2 fingers. You don't have to like me as much. I like you twice as much. That evens it out, right? Red-black shadows bound my hands and feet. I completely lost my composure. What are you doing? You shouldn't do it this way. She laughed, bright and dangerous. Relax. I know what I'm doing. I kept shouting. This is wrong. She just smiled. Stop worrying. I looked at the situation. This was no villain who needed to be redeemed. She'd already given me no work to do at all. Daodu cut in urgently. Based on Deng Tingshuang's personality, she will definitely keep you locked up for a long time. Mission failure means we both die. Also, I just remembered something from the original story. Dark Clan members can drain your physical energy. If you haven't eaten enough, it can be fatal. She cares about me this much. She definitely won't let me die. I went limp and looked pathetic. I'm starving. I want food. She was immediately stricken with guilt. I forgot. I brought you here and haven't fed you anything. I'm so sorry. I almost got you killed. I was internally celebrating. Daodu praised my execution. Deng Tingshuang got up to hunt immediately. She transformed into a red shadow and flew out of the cave. I I started looking for a way out while she was gone. I hit a wall. Leave and die. Stay and also die. I asked Daodu to dig into her past. Find something to work with. Meanwhile, Deng Tingshuang had already locked onto a tiger in the wilderness. Charged. She didn't even flinch. She snapped off a branch, pinned her hair up with it, and said flatly, "No time to play today. Let's make this fast." She was back in minutes. "I'm back. Brought you a big fat tiger. You prefer the leg or the back?" What she found stopped her cold. I had left the cave and found a small river outside to sit by and fish. I'd also noticed 3 dark clan women crouching in the nearby bushes, whispering. When I pulled up a fat carp, Daodu quietly translated their conversation. They were planning to catch me and barbecue me. My back went ice cold. I kept my voice casual. "One fish isn't enough. Need to catch another." I grabbed the catch and sprinted. The 3 of them reacted instantly, giving chase. I ran screaming internally. This world is too dangerous. If I don't earn enough points to buy survival skills soon, I'm a dead man. Daodu was shrieking along beside me. They're getting closer. I wasn't gonna die in some dark clan forest. Then a root caught my foot and I went flying face first. Lunch was about to consist of me. A blade flashed. I broke into a cold sweat and checked with Daodu. "Am I still in one piece?" "Look behind you." The 3 women had been hurled aside. Deng Tingshuang stood over them, face thunderous. "You left the cave just to come see these women?" Daodu warned me. Unstable emotions detected. 3 seconds to accelerated blackening. With 1 second left I dove forward and threw my arms around her. She stiffened. The blackening meter didn't rise. "Lucky you saved me," I said quickly. "Look, I even caught you a big fish." She looked confused. "For me?" I pressed the rope of the fish into her hands. "I'm a grown man. I can't keep letting someone else carry me. You're so thin. I should be the one looking after you." Deng Tingshuang felt something warm hit her chest. "I'm sorry. I misunderstood you. Thought you ran away and didn't want me anymore." She pulled me into a tight embrace. "You're the best man I've ever met." Back in the cave she processed the tiger and said, "Next time, no matter what happens, I'll protect you. I'm very strong." I kept smiling on the surface. Inside I was still shaking. If I'd actually run, it'd be me getting processed right now. A few minutes later she slid a dripping piece of raw meat in front of me. I stared at it. Couldn't say no. She watched me warmly. "Eat first. Then we talk about the other thing." I laughed awkwardly and said I couldn't eat raw meat. Her expression went flat immediately. She thought it was an excuse that I didn't like her. The blackening meter started to creep upward. I hurried to explain. "Eating raw meat causes stomach problems." She looked unconvinced. "Wolf clan people don't eat raw meat?" I held up a solemn hand. "Times have changed. The tribe gave it up long ago. Wait until I cook the meat, eat the full meal, then I'll listen to everything you say. But first, help me chip a hole in that flat rock over there. I'll make you something good." She hesitantly complied, and chiseled out a rough stone pot before long. I spent 1 point on a packet of spiced broth seasoning from the shop. She hauled over firewood with a slightly pouty face. I cheerfully asked her to clean the fish. She sat nearby and kept asking, "Is it done yet?" "Almost. A few more minutes." I pulled out the lighter and struck a flame. Deng Tingshuang lurched backward with a gasp, crashed to the ground. The dark clan feared fire. I had no idea. I was still humming to myself over the fish. Daodu screamed at me to look behind. I spun. She was white-faced, shaking uncontrollably, glaring at me. All these little moves, just to light a fire and kill me. The flames were growing. Her body instinctively pushed back toward the wall. I stepped toward her carefully. "You're afraid of fire." She laughed bitterly. "I don't eat raw meat," was an excuse all along. "You don't want to be with me. You made me do all that work just to find a chance to kill me." I held back a sigh at her imagination. I moved slowly toward her. Under her tense, watchful gaze, I took her cold hand and led her back to the fire's edge. I lit the fire to cook the meat, and fire makes the cave bright, so I can finally see your face clearly. Besides, the warmth feels good. She looked at me steadily. "He's not trying to kill me." I guided her to the window ledge and sat her there. "Rest. I'll handle the rest." I carved 2 sets of chopsticks. Before long, the poached fish was done. I placed a piece of tender belly meat in her bowl. "That part is the softest. No bones." She picked up the chopsticks and tried for a while. The fish wouldn't budge. I saw she didn't know how to use them. "Here, let me show you." Index finger, thumb, like this. Slowly. "Try now. How does it taste?" The fish finally made it into her mouth. Her eyes lit up. "It's delicious." I smiled. "Have more. I can cook for you whenever you want." She ate with total abandon. Daodu exploded with news. Affection up 0.5. 30 points added. I had room to breathe now. I spent 45 on the upgraded danger premonition, then asked Daodu to sync her background file. I closed my eyes and walked into her memory. Deng Tingshuang was half dark clan, half human. Both parents dead since childhood. Drifting alone. Both humans and dark clan despised her. She'd nearly starved to death more than once. That was why food meant everything to her, a primal obsession. A brutal childhood that taught her survival, but left her with no idea what love was supposed to look like. The memory faded. I didn't realize I was crying. She stopped eating and looked at me, confused. I wiped the tears quickly and pulled her into my arms. You have me now. I will never let you be alone again. She went very still, a soft sound from her. Dowdu went off. Affection up 1. 60 points added. I felt genuinely warm about it. This isn't that hard, actually. Meanwhile, back at the tribe square, it had descended into chaos. Xiufu stood in the center of the crowd with frost-cold eyes. Why is it my master who disappeared? Was this done deliberately? The surrounding people scrambled to explain. Xiufu, calm down. People are already looking. Nearby, Shi Tianrui watched in confusion. The plot's completely off. I haven't even rescued Xiufu yet. And he already came back on his own? What's my next move supposed to be? Shuiding was equally stumped. Inside the cave, Deng Tingshuang pushed me down a second time. I asked quietly, do you remember why you were treated badly as a child? Do you want our child to go through the same pain? She went rigid. Warily she asked how I knew about her past. I explained. The Dark Clan can't reproduce with each other, but your features don't match a pure Dark Clan. You're likely a mixed blood child. This world showed you nothing but cruelty. You know that better than I do. She stood slowly, said she needed to step outside and clear her head. She vanished as a shadow. I exhaled, bought some time, but Dowdu immediately started buzzing with urgency. Back home, Xiufu's blackening is spiking. If we don't stop it, we're too late. I went pale. Just as I was about to head back, Dowdu said walking wasn't fast enough. He could activate coordinate teleportation, but the main system had set the price at 50 points. I nearly spat blood. I bit down and paid it. 1 second later I was at the village entrance. A crowd ahead of me. I pushed through shouting, I'm back. Let me through. Xiufu had been in the middle of beating a village warrior. The moment she heard my voice she spun around. I'm safe. Nothing happened. She froze. How did you get back? Dowdu reported. Xiufu's blackening is dropping. I was genuinely surprised. I'd assumed she'd be hoping I died out there. Turns out, just coming back dropped the meter. Elder Xiufu's mustache was shaking with fury. How do you train your slaves? She assaulted a village warrior. I laughed coldly. If these people couldn't even handle my female slave, what kind of warriors are they? Besides, slaves protecting their master is completely natural. Xiufu did nothing wrong. I poked Xiufu right in the nose. When the Dark Clan took me, did any of your warriors come after me? Maybe disband the lot of them. I reached out naturally and took Xiufu's hand, pulling her toward home. She couldn't believe what had just happened. Her cheeks flushed faintly. Affection up 1 star. 60 more points in my pocket. Not far away, Shi Tianrui was demanding answers from Shuiding. How is this bit character Li Yuanyi still not dead? Tell me you didn't give me a pirated novel. Shuiding swore it was legit. Shi Tianrui turned toward the forest. He'd go for Deng Tingshuang first. According to the source material, one walk through the woods and he'd encounter her. In a tree above the village, the serpent woman Xiao Yuan sat thinking. This Li Yuanyi is strange. She shifted to human form, frowning. He vanished out of the ordinary, no fanfare and no goodbye. And now he's just back. Xiaoya had been watching me and was furious. She decided I hadn't been kidnapped at all. Just refused to come home. Fine. I'm done worrying about him. Wasn't going to anyway. Back home, I kept staring at Xiufu without speaking. Her face got redder and redder. I suddenly raised my hand. She shot to her feet in alarm. I looked confused. Why are you nervous again? You seemed fine a minute ago. She said quietly that it was nothing. She needed to start dinner. She bolted to the kitchen. My panel showed her affection was quietly rising. Was she falling for me? Interesting. Time to change strategies a bit. Dowdu suddenly sounded an alarm. Deng Tingshuang just returned to the cave and found you gone. She thinks you escaped. Blackening is spiking. I groaned. Apparently the original author's design was that villains couldn't encounter each other, couldn't know about each other's relationship with me. I wanted to find that author and throttle them. No choice. Go greet Xiufu and slip out again. In the cave, Deng Tingshuang was raging, tearing the place apart. Said all the right things and ran the first chance you got. You liar. You can't escape. Then a familiar voice drifted in from outside. Tingshuang, what happened? She spun around. I was there, one knee on the ground, holding something in both hands. Look what I brought you. All her fury dissolved. It had been a misunderstanding. He hadn't run. She threw herself at me, knocking me flat. Dowdu reminded me not to give in. Not if I wanted to stop the other 6 villains from blackening. I asked sternly, Tingshuang, do you know how dangerous it is for Dark Clan and Wolf Clan to be together? Really? Then I need to understand you better first. She didn't follow the logic. But that was fine. I asked if she was willing to trust me. She nodded immediately. I thought, I just need to tire her out enough to keep things calm. Then I picked her up and carried her to a spot in the cave. She cooperated beautifully. Before long she was exhausted and asleep. Daodu went wild with praise. Blackening value, sharply decreased. Affection up 0.5. 30 points added. I lay down to rest on the ground. Meanwhile at the Wolf Clan home, Xiufu stared at her own hands. Her strength had grown, probably from the technique she'd used escaping the Dark Clan. Up in a nearby tree, the serpent woman lay draped over a branch, completely baffled. Li Yuanyi didn't leave the tribe today, so how did he just vanish into nothing? Strange. But getting stranger by the day. In the cave I lit a fire to warm the place up. Deng Tingshuang stirred and murmured, "What's wrong? You wore yourself out and fell asleep. Rested now." She came over and wrapped her arms around me. "You stayed." I smiled. "I won't abandon you, but I also need to go back to the tribe sometimes. My friends will worry." She shook her head. "It's fine," I told her. "You know where I live. I can't disappear on you." She hesitated. I held up 3 fingers and swore I wouldn't run. She thought about it, then said she needed to put a mark on me. Once marked, she could sense my location at all times. Then she'd feel safe enough to let me go. She stared at my neck, left a bite mark just below my jaw. It faded after a moment, but the tracking bond was set. If I was ever in mortal danger, she'd feel it immediately. For me, that was a useful safety net. I pointed at the entrance. "Can I go now?" She smiled warmly. "Yes, baby. Go home." I waved goodbye and walked a safe distance before teleporting back. Just as I slipped into a hidden patch of undergrowth, the actual male lead, Shi Tianrui, wandered right into the same clearing. He was complaining to his system about not finding Deng Tingshuang, and nearly got grabbed by a pack of Dark Clan women. Shuiding was urging him not to give up. In that moment I understood. His story trigger was standing right where I'd been. If I teleported back now, Deng Tingshuang might find him. He was better looking and had a full feature system. Couldn't win a fair fight. Plus Deng Tingshuang was still kind of responsible for me right now. I had Daodu teleport me back to the cave. Deng Tingshuang was sprawled bored on the stone bed. She heard footsteps and brightened up immediately. She spun toward the entrance. I waved awkwardly and smiled. "Tingshuang." I remembered something I still needed to handle. She lit up and launched herself toward me. "Baby, you're back. Did you miss me?" She wrapped her arms around my neck. I nodded. "Yes. Missed you." I used the excuse of wanting to see her in the new outfit I'd brought. Said I'd leave after seeing it. Really, I just needed to keep her in the cave all day. She smiled and nodded. "Okay." A little while later she walked out in the dress. "Baby, does it look good?" She was genuinely stunning. "Beautiful. It's a human clan style. Do you like it?" She said she liked anything I gave her. Daodu erupted. Blackening sharply decreased. Affection up 0.5. 30 more points. She wrapped her arms around my neck again. "Dress is on. Are you leaving now?" I said softly. "I'll leave after you're asleep." Her eyes went red. Tears building. "Still have to go." Night fell before either of us noticed. Shi Tianrui finally ran out of patience. "Dark Clan starts hibernation in a few days anyway. I'll go work on a different villain first." He opened the starter pack teleport and vanished from the dark forest. In the cave, I found Deng Tingshuang's breathing had slowed. Asleep, I called her name softly. No response. I activated the teleport and disappeared. Reappeared at the doorstep of home. Dusted off my clothes quickly, no evidence. But just as I was about to head in, I found Xiufu standing at the top of the stairs. Arms crossed. "That was a long time. Where were you?" All of it had been watched from the tree by Xiao Yuan. She transformed into human form, eyebrows furrowed. Strange. Li Yuanyi actually knows high-level transport magic. Xiufu curled up on the floor in her fox form, then perked up the moment she heard my footsteps and snapped back to human. Eyes bright. "Master, you're finally back." I put 2 fish on the table. "Why were you sleeping on the floor?" She thought he went out so late just to catch fish. Weak effort, only 2. But before she could say she'd go heat up dinner, I stopped her. "Answer me first." She said softly that she was just used to sleeping on the floor. I pushed back directly. "You clearly prefer the soft bed." "I know." I reached out and touched her head again. "Don't be scared. I'm not going to hurt you." Her face went a little pink. She thought, he's been getting stranger and stranger. I switched to my default expression. Eyebrows set, tone flat. "Cook it properly. I'm going myself since you'll probably poison it." I turned toward the kitchen. She blinked, then exhaled. "He hasn't changed. Just less mean." Daodu whispered. Xiufu affection up 0.1. 5 points. I was surprised. Can't figure this girl out at all. Daodu encouraged. "You've got Xiufu handled now. Once you pass 150 points, the shop upgrades." I walked in carrying the food like I owned the place. "Xiufu, sit down and eat. Don't make me ask twice." She sat down obediently. I said sit. She sat. "All right. That was the first time we ate a meal together. Not long in, I felt the mark on my neck itch. I scratched at it without thinking. Tsufu's eyes locked onto my neck. She slammed the table. I jumped. She leaned forward to look at the reddened skin. Her voice had an edge. "You've been marked by the Dark Clan." I decided to play dumb. "When they grabbed me, one of them bit me. I escaped while they were out hunting. Is this mark going to be a problem?" Tsufu analyzed it carefully. "The Dark Clan has set their sights on you. They'll come and force you to be with one of them." I tried not to look guilty. She was completely right. She hit the table again. Voice firm. "We have to leave. Go somewhere they can't follow." "Why would we leave?" She explained. "Once the Dark Clan claims someone, they keep using them until the person has no value left, then discard them." I looked at her seriously. "Then wouldn't you be free?" She paused. "I just don't want to see someone I know get hurt." Daodu was puzzled. Couldn't tell if it was affection or blackening coloring her emotions. Tsufu looked away, refusing to meet my eyes. I smiled. "All right, I know you're loyal. Now sit down and eat. I had a long day. We'll deal with the mark tomorrow." Tsufu finally settled. I'd figure out how to keep Tingshuang from sniffing around. After dinner, Tsufu had shifted back to fox form and settled on the bed. She looked incredibly peaceful. I couldn't help reaching out to stroke her fluffy tail. Softest thing I'd ever touched. And come to think of it, I hadn't tried shifting into wolf form yet. I used my face to gently nuzzle the tail. Tsufu jolted awake. She let out a startled sound. I frowned. "What was that about?" Daodu exploded. Tsufu affection up 1. 50 points added. Total, 150. Auto unlocked. Level 2 system shop. And then, the little fox crept toward me on her own. She seemed to decide she was warmer this way. I gently stroked her head. "Good girl. Sleep." The next morning I woke and looked over at her. Still curled up peacefully. 2 hours later she prepared to head out for work with the other female slaves. Before leaving she reminded me, if I moved out, Deng Tingshuang would find us and she'd blacken for certain. Tsufu was insisting on moving. I was stuck in the middle. Eventually I decided to find Tsufu and talk it out. Meanwhile, in the fruit orchard outside the tribe, Tsufu was quietly picking fruit, and Shi Tianrui was hiding behind a tree watching. He'd bought a pearl accessory set from his system shop, 1 hour of 100% charm boost. The moment Tsufu put a fruit in the basket, Shi Tianrui called her name. She looked up. A greasy-looking stranger with an overly eager smile. He offered to help carry her basket. "This is our job. You don't need to help me," she said politely. Shi Tianrui internally reeled. The accessory wasn't working? Was she just being modest? He'd always been a 9 out of 10 without accessories, after all. That was when I arrived and spotted them. "This guy is digging up my garden." I softened my entire posture. "Tsufu," I called, in the sweetest voice I had. She turned immediately. I walked over wearing my most hurt expression. "Since someone else is here to help you, I guess you don't need me." Shi Tianrui was confused. One mopey guy was not a threat. I turned away sadly. "I won't bother you. Sorry for worrying for nothing." Tsufu immediately moved to come with me. Daodu, Tsufu affection up 0.1. 5 points. I hoisted her basket onto my back. "Tonight's dinner is on you. I want something incredible." I was smug all the way home. "Come at my garden with your protagonist halo. See how far you get." On the walk back, Tsufu warned me about the man from the orchard. He knew I was a female slave and still approached. "His motives aren't clean." I smiled and nodded along. She added, "And don't do what you just did back there. If the tribe men see that, they'll lose even more respect for you." She meant my pitiful and soft act. I reached out and waved my hand slowly in front of her face. This time she didn't flinch back. "You're not afraid of me anymore," she tensed. "Walk properly. People are watching. I don't care what people think. I just want to make up for what I owe you." Tsufu lowered her head. "You're the master. I'm the slave. There's nothing to make up for." But internally, he seems like he actually changed. Her affection had climbed to 3 stars. She was only a character from a novel, but honestly, an impeccable one. "Tsufu, you look beautiful when you smile. More of that." She looked away shyly, still walking. "Let's just go home and eat." I followed, still smiling. "Actually, let me cook today." Shi Tianrui watched us go, deciding to remove me. He guessed I was the other transmigrator. Without me, Tsufu would be easy. Daodu reminded him to move fast. Shi Tianrui suddenly remembered. In the original story there was a Dark Clan girl who'd do anything for a shred of hope. She'd handle his dirty work. That evening I finished cooking and stepped into the hallway, and a woman came flying at me from behind with lightning in her hands. My new skill kicked in. I dodged. When she came again, Tsufu stepped in front of me. The bolt grazed her arm. She stumbled. I caught her in time. Light wound only. Fu turned to me. Is this the Dark Clan woman who marked you? No. The attacker spoke in a dead voice. Tonight you die. Your death is my only path forward. Half an hour ago Shi Tianrui had found her and made a promise. Kill Li Yuanyi and she'd become his slave, a recognized identity. One real affiliation and she'd be free of the Dark Clan forever. She'd chosen to believe him. When she came in again, Fu moved to block her, and got kicked clean out the window. The serpent woman Xiao Yuan witnessed it all from outside. Dark Clan inside the tribe bold. She quietly began casting, and I was done holding back. You touched my Fu. There are consequences. Before she could react, I drove her out through the wall with a new technique. She coughed blood, barely off the ground before my foot connected with her midsection. She hit the earth hard. Xiao Yuan put away her spell, smiling. Li Yuanyi, how many surprises are you hiding? Fu stared at me, face completely blank. She had no idea I'd gotten this strong. I pressed my foot down and demanded answers. Who sent you? She said nothing. I cast once more and ended it. No point keeping someone with nothing to offer. Fu watched in stunned silence. I knelt down to check her over. Besides the arm, anywhere else hurt? She turned the question around. When did you learn to do that? I fumbled. Couldn't exactly say. I just bought a combat technique from a system shop. When the Dark Clan grabbed me, something just clicked under pressure. She looked uncertain, but somewhere in her head. Is he secretly some kind of prodigy? The serpent woman nearby. The weakest Dark Clan still needs a level 2 warrior to beat. That was no lucky breakthrough. She also noted Fu's sealed power. Potential that went much deeper than the surface. Interesting village. Elder Fu arrived with warriors. I pointed at the body. Dark Clan infiltrated the village. Came to assassinate us both. A warrior checked the body. Dead. Fu asked who killed her. Since everyone knew Li Yuanyi couldn't lift a bucket of water, I didn't answer directly. Right now isn't the time to discuss that. We need to find how they got in. Fu reasoned coolly. Someone inside helped them. Fu was confused. The Dark Clan should be entering hibernation, unless someone offered them something bigger. Are you sure you haven't offended anyone? Fu looked at me. Remember the man who wouldn't leave me alone at the orchard? Most likely him. She told Fu the name, Shi Tianrui. Fu's expression darkened. He knew you had a female slave and contacted her directly. That's a serious violation. He joined the tribe a few days ago, said he was passing through. Minutes later Shi Tianrui stood before the group. Elder, if Li Yuanyi wants to accuse me, he'll need proof. Fu hesitated. He didn't look like the criminal type. Shi Tianrui pressed his advantage inwardly. I've heard Li Yuanyi is lazy, useless, and fond of beating female slaves. He got grabbed by the Dark Clan and came back alone. Why? I didn't see that coming. He was trying to turn it back on me. I couldn't prove he sent the assassin, and now that she was dead, neither could he. I answered coldly. I came back alive because I'm capable. Fu backed me up. He killed a Dark Clan infiltrator with his own hands. That's proof enough. Shi Tianrui noticed the mark on my neck. He has a Dark Clan mark, and he escaped anyway? How convenient. He was mocking me. Thought I had no counter to that. I sighed. I was going to bring this up with you anyway, Elder. Yes, I was marked. Barely fought my way back. I'm planning to take Fu to Yanshan town to avoid further pursuit. We leave tomorrow. Fu was concerned. How would I survive in Yanshan without income? But Shi Tianrui suddenly stepped in front of us. You're not leaving. He was panicking internally. He couldn't afford to lose Fu from reach. Fu looked baffled. What business is there moving to you? Shi Tianrui started improvising. His Dark Clan situation isn't resolved. This could be fleeing to avoid consequences. I stared him down. You have no proof I colluded with the Dark Clan. I have no proof you sent the assassin. We're at a draw. Fu's expression cooled. Schweiding warned Shi Tianrui. Fu's blackening is rising fast. Step back, there's a villain in Yanshan too. Shi Tianrui snorted. Fine. Do whatever you want. He left in visible frustration. Good, now I didn't need to worry about Fu being lured off. Fu watched his retreating back with a cold eye. That man's heart is dangerous. He told me to take care of myself in Yanshan. After everyone left, Fu looked at the wrecked room and picked up a broken door plank. I stopped her. Don't bother fixing it. She wanted to say something. I took her hand. You never liked it here anyway. Think of it as a clean slate. We'll have a new home. She repeated quietly. New home. Our home. I walked inside and lay straight down on the bed. Get some sleep tonight. You too. Fu thought the open door wasn't safe. I laughed. Besides you, there's nothing in the Li household worth stealing. Come on. I left you a spot. I added. If you don't trust me, you can shift into fox form. She hesitated, then agreed. Try anything and I'll fight back. Candle out. Good night. I closed my eyes. She lay with her back to me, unable to sleep, replaying everything I'd done for her over these past days. Then she turned. In the moonlight, she studied my face. Li Yuanyi, if you keep treating me well like this, then I'll live well with you. I opened my eyes and looked at her. You don't have to force yourself. Daodu immediately erupted. Zufu affection up 2 points. 100 points added. Her affection was now 4 stars. I reached over and gently touched her hair. Let's start over. I won't treat you the way I did before. I'm sorry. She paused, then quietly pulled my arm closer. Next morning I woke first. For stars lit. 1 to go. Zufu opened her eyes and found me already watching her. She scrambled upright immediately, said she'd slept too deep, apologized. I told her it was fine and that I needed to step out for a bit. She asked what the rush was. Need to sort out travel documents. Buy food for the road. She nodded agreeably. I ruffled her fox ears. Wait for me. I left without noticing that the serpent woman Xiao Yuan had been trailing me. He's leaving without packing? Again, a blue light flashed. I vanished. She shifted to human form. Where is he learning these advanced techniques? If I consumed him, I'd have that ability. Meanwhile, I'd already teleported to Deng Tingshuang's cave, brought a crate of meat I'd bought from the shop, and walked in with a smile. Tingshuang, I'm back. She'd already sensed me. She pounced from behind. Did your wound get better? What's all this meat for? Will you hibernate with me? I missed you. I kept her busy answering while easing her back. Missed you too. Brought supplies for your winter rest. But our wolf clan doesn't hibernate, and my wound needs outside treatment to heal properly. She went still. Where are you going? I caught her change in tone. Thought I could slip past her. Should have known better. I set down the crate and held her hands gently. I chose your hibernation season on purpose so I could go heal. That way you wake up and I'm already back. And I gave you my word I wouldn't leave you. She looked away. I'm still scared. I pulled her close. I know how hard it's been to trust anyone. I don't blame you for doubting me. Daodu quietly cheered me on. Her affection was slowly climbing. One more push. We have a bond now. Every time you're feeling low, I come. I've never lied to you. Have I? No. Daodu exploded. Affection spiked sharply. 80 points added. But a warning. She's prone to swings. That heart could dim again. I closed my eyes and kissed her on the forehead. She asked very quietly if I could do one more thing before I left. She looked up with full expectation. I scooped her up in a princess carry. Of course. Whatever you want. She nodded happily. Night had fallen before I finally teleported back. Zufu was still packing. Face flushed, small beads of sweat on her forehead. I set down the fish and chicken I'd caught on the way. Reached out and smoothed a loose strand of her hair. Look at you. Working so hard your hair's a mess. She leaned quietly against me. Don't be this good to me. I'm afraid I'll get attached. We left the next morning, said goodbye to Elder Shufu, and set off toward Yenshan City. 2 full days of walking. We stopped at a waterfall to make camp. I told Shufu to bathe first while I went for firewood. She insisted firewood was slave work and should be left to her. I shook my head. We're not at the tribe anymore. Stop thinking of yourself as a slave. We're family now. She froze. Couldn't imagine me saying something like that. I pushed her toward the water. Go. I've checked the area. Nobody around. Her little heart was pounding. Daodu admired the technique. Host, whatever you do it seems to raise the fox's affection. I pushed deeper into the woods. The vegetation here was unusually thick. Daodu suddenly remembered. There's a forest clan female villain named Ruan Lingzhu. She lives in places like this. A quick check of coordinates. Sure enough, her territory. Suddenly a green vine shot out from behind a tree and wrapped around my body, lifting me off the ground and hanging me upside down from a trunk. This was definitely Ruan Lingzhu. According to the original story, she was both obsessive and deeply appearance-focused. The male lead was top-tier gorgeous. My bare face was maybe a 6 at best. One thought of that and I felt like a lost cause. But Daodu said my charisma was off the charts. You'll be fine. Ruan Lingzhu appeared in front of me, studying me curiously. A wolf clan boy. Haven't seen a living thing in so long. But wait, she's still asleep in the original story. This can't be her true self. She leaned closer. What's your name? Li Yuanyi. She blinked. You smell nice. You'd probably taste good. My mental state shattered. Who asks their food for its name? Before I could respond, Xiufu's frantic shouting came from not far off. Li Yuanyi. Wan Lingzhu paused. I'll come find you again. Then she was gone. The vine dropped me and I hit the ground hard. Xiufu came running. What happened to you? I sighed. Ran into a forest clan. It's going to be complicated. She immediately sensed the atmosphere had gone cold and oppressive. She grabbed my hand. Something's wrong here. Let's go. Half a month later, we finally reached Yenshan City, a great city where Beast Clan and Human Clan lived side by side. I was amazed at how lively it was. Xiufu looked a little melancholy. My homeland was even more magnificent. It's just... I reached over and ruffled her ear, promised to help her rebuild the Fox homeland. I remembered, in the original story the male lead Shi Tianrui helped Xiufu restore the Hu clan, and she became the new empress. I intended to do better. She asked if I already knew about her history. I said, just guesses. Even though I was terrible before, thinking back on it now, I finally understand how much you went through. She looked at me with complicated eyes. Sometimes I feel like you became a different person. I'm still me. People grow. And right now, are you still afraid I hate you? She laughed suddenly. Whatever happens, I hope you stay like this. I told her to relax and let me find us a place to stay. She smiled and said she already had one, and led me to a grand house at the end of a road. She knocked. A beautiful Hu clan woman answered. The moment she saw Xiufu, her eyes went wide. Your Highness. This was Chuanyi, her mother's closest attendant. Devoted to the Hu clan, a legendary warrior in her own right. They embraced, and Chuanyi's voice broke. I never thought I'd see you again while I still lived. Xiufu wiped the corner of Chuanyi's eye. After everything that happened, I was sold to a wolf clan tribe. Chuanyi inhaled sharply. Your Highness must have suffered terribly. Xiufu smiled and shook her head. It's all past. Everything's fine now. Chuanyi's gaze fell on me, eyes measuring. Awkward silence. Li Yuanyi, whose body I now occupied, had been the one doing the abusing. Xiufu said quietly, he's my master. I jumped in. Not anymore. We're family. Chuanyi went silent for a moment, then took Xiufu's hand and led her toward a room that had been kept ready. Xiufu was moved. Chuanyi had never forgotten their old promise. Chuanyi brought her to a lavish room and told her to rest. Xiufu grabbed her hand. Could Li Yuanyi stay in the room next door? He's been good to me. Don't worry. Chuanyi's eyebrows knitted. Something in her expression she wasn't showing. She gave me a pointed look and put me in the room next door, told me to sort it out myself, then turned back to Xiufu with a warm smile. I'll go prepare a proper welcome dinner. After she left, Xiufu offered to help me tidy up. I told her she didn't have to. She looked at me earnestly. You gave me back my freedom. Helping you with a room isn't much. I gave in and let her. We walked into my room. She felt something shift. I haven't been back to Yenshan since I was sold. The city's changed so much. Let's walk around tonight. I agreed immediately. Wherever you want to go. I'm there. Then Daodu hit the alarm. Something's wrong. Deng Tingshuang's blackening is spiking. Panic. Xiufu looked up. What's wrong? Nothing, just really need the bathroom. Back soon. I ran. Teleport activated. I vanished from Chuanyi's house and appeared outside Deng Tingshuang's cave. The entrance showed signs of a fight. I rushed in, then Deng Tingshuang came flying out past me. I caught her by instinct. We both went down from the momentum. She was badly hurt. What happened? She told me to run. Forget her. 3 dark clan women stepped out of the cave behind her. Eyes full of predatory hunger. Well, a little wolf pup dropped right in our lap. White and soft. Smells good too. Today must be our lucky day. The yellow-haired one licked her lips slowly. Let him serve us in turns. Once we have what we want. Dried meat for winter. Deng Tingshuang tensed. I told her to stay put and rest. I'd handle this. I stood and turned to face the 3 of them directly. Mess with the people I care about, and you're already dead. Deng Tingshuang barely managed. He's my person. Yellow hair sneered. 3 women converged on me. I didn't move a muscle. I'd spent 50 points on a high-level combat skill earlier. Yellow hair swung first with a sharp grin. Let's see what you've got. Her fist connected with nothing. She was already airborne. Whose family of yours? Green hair and red hair stared. The contempt in their eyes became wariness in an instant. This wolf pup has something to him. Both launched at once. I stood perfectly still. Let them come. 2 punches. Both of them flew backward into the stone wall. Behind me, Deng Tingshuang's eyes had gone completely round. He was this powerful? I walked toward the 3 broken figures on the ground. I don't normally hit women, but touch my family. And you made your choice. You believe in strength deciding everything. Then let me send you off. Final strike. End of fight. I turned and went back to Deng Tingshuang. Let me carry you in and treat those wounds. Daodu erupted, affection spiking fast. 200 points incoming. I carried her gently to the stone bed inside. Pulled out a bottle of antiseptic and cotton swabs. This might sting a little. Bear with it. Just as I was about to start, she suddenly kissed me. I froze. Handle the wound first. It'll reopen. She apparently didn't hear a word. I put on my sternest expression. Listen to me. Lie still. She blinked and finally went still. Good. I kept talking while I worked. Just hibernate in peace. I'll come check on you every few days. She shot upright. You're leaving again? I started making things up. The tribe has duties before the first snow. I can't just abandon them. You'd leave me too if you had people depending on you. Right? Her nose started to go red. Tears followed. I kept wiping them away and whispering comfort. Silently thinking, all this effort to redeem a villain. And I'm starting to feel like the one who's been manipulated. When the medicine was done, I touched her head. I'll come see you soon. She held my hand tight. Can't you stay a bit longer? My heart softened. Okay. I'll leave after you fall asleep. It's not safe to go back this late anyway. Daodu noted her affection was still rising. She was adjusting to the reality that I'd leave. She curled against me and whispered, I don't want to hibernate at all anymore. I laughed softly. She perked up, surprised. That one was the truth. Not long after, she was asleep. I told Daodu to open the teleport and vanished. I brushed the mud off my clothes and shoes before heading up the stairs. Too late. Xiufu was standing on the steps waiting. Arms crossed. That was a very long bathroom trip. I couldn't find the bathroom and ended up wandering outside. Even I wanted to hit myself. Who would believe that? Xiufu looked at me in silence. Why is he lying? Then she said, your room is ready. Go wash up and rest. I was stunned. She clearly didn't believe me, but didn't push. 2 targets in and I was already barely keeping up. Still 5 more to go. Daodu reminded me. Fully redeem one and their blackening is gone permanently. Best to focus on Xiufu while Tingshuang hibernates. But sure Tianrui failed last time, he'd be back in Yanshan soon. I had to move first. Whoever's here first gets the first impression advantage. If I make them trust me before he arrives, he can't touch me. I sat up abruptly. Young people, no excuses for being tired. Work is work wherever you are. Then immediately flopped back down. Genuinely exhausted, I browsed the shop and found tonics and herbal flower water. 1 point each, unlimited supply. Daodu told me I had good taste. I felt like a new person. Over the following days, Xiufu and Chuani were out until late each night. I spent evenings sneaking over to check on Tingshuang in her hibernation, and came back spritzed with fresh fragrance spray. At dinner that day Xiufu caught the scent. Why do you smell so good lately? I kept my expression level. Ran into someone's thick body odor while I was out walking. Embarrassed me into finally washing properly. I regretted it before I finished. Xiufu just nodded faintly. Yeah, you used to smell pretty awful. But her eyes said she'd seen through the lie, and was choosing not to ask. I was more confused than ever. A month passed without incident. The Yanshan villain, Kuan Yue, still hadn't returned to the city. She'd gone to the Imperial clan to see her master. I was just hoping sure Tianrui didn't get lucky and run into her first. Then Xiufu's voice came from outside the door. She was home earlier than usual. Small face, traces of guilt. Worried she'd been neglecting me. The city's got a festival market tonight. Want to come with me? I looked at her, and felt something skip. She looked unusually sweet today. Nothing else going on anyway. Good excuse to earn some affection. I said I'd change first. She stopped me and wrapped a warm black robe around my shoulders. She'd made it herself. She'd been up until midnight every night doing business, and still made time to sew this. I pulled her gently into my arms. I'm sorry for everything I did before. She felt something full inside. She looked up at me. The festival is starting. Come on. I exhaled quietly. She's never once been treated well, and she trusts me on almost nothing. Out in the festival street, she actually reached out and took my hand on her own. Tonight there's a parade. The Grand Priest will ride through on the flower float. My attention sharpened. Does that mean Chuan Yue's back? Xiufu explained. Kuan Yue came from the Hound clan. She trained under the Imperial Grand Priest. High status. The work Xiufu and Chuani had been doing was connected to her. Xiufu's power was sealed, but they'd found records of Kuan Yue helping restore similar cases. Then Chuani had reached out to old allies from her parents. Please don't be upset. I know I should have told you. I smiled and said of course I wasn't upset. Then immediately asked Daodu. Wait. The villains can't know about each other's relationship with me, right? Daodu clarified. The restriction is that they can't know about each other's relationship with you. It's not that they can't meet. Just that they won't know the other is connected to you. To prevent jealousy-triggered blackening before the right moment. I stared at him. Why didn't you tell me this up front? I thought if they ever met I'd drop dead. Xiufu gently tugged my hand. Chuan Yue's here. Several Hound clan warriors carried a palanquin down the road. Inside, the Grand Priest Kuan Yue. My first real look at villain number 3. Xiufu whispered. She despises men. very difficult to get close to. I knew that well. Getting her to warm up wouldn't be simple. But the harder it was, the more interesting it got. After Chuanyua's float passed, I bought Zufu a steaming bun, burned my fingers dropping it, then picked out a ridiculous sideways hat and put it on her head. She burst out laughing. The night's main event arrived. A dazzling fireworks display. She was genuinely happy. On the walk home, Daodu reported, Zufu affection rising fast. 150 points added. Back in the room, Zufu heated bathwater for me. Chuani walked in and couldn't hold back. Your Highness, you're free now. You don't have to do things like this yourself. Especially for a... She glanced at me. Zufu smiled. Maybe it's habit. Chuani sighed. You are a princess of noble blood. If your father's betrayal hadn't happened, that wolf wouldn't even qualify to carry your shoes. Zufu didn't argue. She just told her to go rest. They had important matters in 2 days. Chuani couldn't stop herself. Tell me honestly, did you fall for him? Zufu's face flushed. What do you mean, fall for? His parents wanted someone, so they bought me home. I just feel bad for him. He's never had anyone. Chuani gave her a knowing look. Ernest now. I understand. But you need to keep your eyes open. Zufu nodded. I know. Chuani yawned and left. Zufu sat quietly for a while. Strange. Ever since the festival, her heart hadn't slowed down. She carried hot water to my room. I caught a faint, unfamiliar scent in the room. Not soap. Daodu gave me a quiet heads up. Zufu's natural pheromones had activated. Her 19th birthday was 2 days away. That explained the strange energy around her today. Hu clan pheromone release typically lasted a week. Cleared my throat. I want to talk with you about something. She said to wait until after the bath. The water was cooling fast. I said it anyway. In 2 days is your 19th birthday. She blinked, clearly had forgotten. No one had celebrated it in years. I asked directly, you know what happens when a Hu clan member turns 19, right? She went absolutely still, then looked down. No wonder my heart keeps racing. I met her eyes. I treated you badly. I don't know how you see me now. I don't want to take advantage of you. So for that period I might instinctively try to mark you. Just so you know. Before I finished saying it, she'd already been marked. A few seconds of silence. Then she stood on her toes and kissed me. I was brought home to be your wife. That's what I was bought for. I looked at her steadily, unsure how to respond. She noticed my stare. Don't look at me like that. I'll get embarrassed. My heart was hammering. I had never looked at a girl quite this closely, or this seriously. All her defenses down, just her real face. And then I kissed her first, and my head turned to pure static. I came here to redeem these women. So why did it feel like I was the one getting redeemed? I pulled back slightly. Zufu's eyes showed a flash of uncertainty. I said, I don't know what got into me tonight. She stepped forward. Eyes direct. I've hated you, loathed you. Did you know? I know. She looked down. But you became someone else. All I want now is one honest answer. Are you being real with me? Of course I am. My mind went back through everything, the fake angry medicine sessions, quietly leaving the best food for her. Daodu. Zufu's emotions are unstable. Answer carefully. I thought about when I first took over this body. I'd gotten close to her for a mission, but somewhere along the way I couldn't tell the difference anymore. Seeing her smile made me feel light. Seeing her hurt made my chest ache. The mission had long since tangled itself into something messier. Maybe being unable to tell the difference was the answer. I pulled her close. She stiffened slightly. I won't give myself to just anyone. You're my only choice. She placed both hands on my chest and pushed. I toppled backward into the wooden basin. Water everywhere. For this one moment it was just the two of us. Her affection finally hit 5 stars. First villain. Fully redeemed. Daodu rewarded me with 1,000 points. Next morning, Shi Tianrui walked into Yenshan City and felt a sharp pain in his chest. System warning. Zufu's redemption is complete. You must now redeem at least 2 more villains. Accumulate 3,000 points to unlock level 6 shop, and the forced reversal item that resets villain blackening. Meanwhile across the house, Zufu opened her eyes, found me watching her quietly. She blinked in confusion. I've been awake for a while. She scrambled upright, remembered she had to go meet with Chuani. I reminded her, tomorrow's your birthday. Be back early. She nodded and darted out. I was in a great mood. First villain successfully redeemed. Correction. She had redeemed me. This world was honestly wonderful. Then Daodu yelled at me to get up. System alert. He'd upgraded to level 4, and had just detected the main system entering Yenshan City. Shi Tianrui was definitely going after Kuanyue. Teleport activated immediately. 1 second later I was outside Chuanyue's estate. I'd barely steadied myself when I heard Shi Tianrui complaining behind the fence next door. He'd been turned away at the gate. Of course, Kuan Yue despised men. Shi Tianrui learned through Shuiding about her old scars. The shop had a scar removal ointment. If only he could get through the door. He had the protagonist's halo. He'd figure something out eventually. But my brain worked faster. I asked Daodu, did the shop carry anything for temporarily changing how others perceive my gender? No, but there was something close. Female disguise master. Target perceives you as female for 50 minutes. Cost 100 points. I couldn't see myself through others' eyes though. Might be a catch. Daodu, this is currently the best match. I'd stake my core chip on it. I bought it. Note. Once the 50 minutes expired, the illusion would break and she'd see my real face. First, let me test it on Shi Tianrui. Deep breath. I walked toward him. The effect activated mid-step. In Shi Tianrui's eyes, I transformed into a silver-haired woman, tall, cold, and striking. Watching his reaction, I cringed internally. A man staring that hard was uncomfortable even from this angle. I walked straight past him toward Chuanyue's gate. His eyes followed my back the whole way. If only one of the female leads I needed to win overlooked like that. I was already calculating what excuse to use at the gate. I spent 5 points on scar-revealing ointment from the shop, then ran to the front gate, face screwed up, crying like my heart had broken. I seek an audience with the Grand Priest Kuan Yue. The 2 female guards looked me over. They could see the tears. Their eyes met. One of them opened the gate quietly and gestured me inside. On the way in she asked softly, "Is this about a man?" I kept crying. She reassured me gently. "Don't be afraid. The Grand Priest will help." Just as I'd researched, Kuan Yue not only presided over ceremonies but quietly helped women who'd been wronged by men. A guard found her sitting in a quiet pavilion. She tapped my hand. "Go on in." I lifted the white curtain and stepped inside. Kuan Yue was sitting composedly. She set down her tea and looked at me kindly. "What can I do for you?" I observed her quietly. Her warmth toward women was real. If only things hadn't gone the way they had for her, she never would have ended up where she did. In the original story, Chuanyue's father abandoned her and her mother to chase power. Her mother collapsed and died within a year. 8 years old, bought as a slave by an Ape Clan man. When she grew older he tried to harm her. She fought him off and barely escaped. A Phoenix Clan Grand Priest later took her as a disciple and gave her a future. She saw my silence and smiled. "You don't have to say anything. Come here to rest if you need to." She was such a good person underneath all of it. I had to help her. I began. "This is about a distant cousin. I want to go learn trade with him, but my family says women can't leave home. My father wants to marry me off to an old man to stop me." Kuan Yue slapped the table. "That's outrageous. Following a relative into business. And this is how your own father treats his daughter." She pulled me into a gentle embrace. "Don't be afraid. This is Yenshan City. I won't allow that here. Go home, speak to him. If he won't listen, come back and I'll back you up personally." I thanked her warmly. "Just talking with you, I feel so much better." Then I brought out the scar ointment, claiming it was my cousin's own recipe, and presented it as a thank you gift. She said I didn't have to, but I was firm. "Grand Priest, please accept it. My third plan only works if you're willing to try it." I set it on the stone table and left at a quick jog. Kuan Yue stepped out of the pavilion after me, then stopped herself, thought about my situation, let out a quiet sigh. She glanced back at the small vial, her expression complicated. I was just about to leave the estate when Daodu flagged. Xiufu was nearby. I dove behind a large tree. Xiufu and Chuani came walking down the path, headed to discuss the unsealing. I waited, barely breathing until they passed, then slipped out. None of them noticed, or so I thought. Something had caught everything, and it was in the shadows. Inside, Xiufu and Chuani were escorted to the main hall. Xiufu knelt politely. "Grand Priest, I ask your help in unsealing the power within me." Kuan Yue heard the name and found it familiar. "You're the Fox Clan princess." Xiufu replied. "The Fox Clan is long fallen. I'm no longer a princess." Kuan Yue read the determination in her eyes, wanting to revive her clan and avenge her family. She heard what Xiufu didn't say. "Revenge for your parents is righteous." Xiufu bowed her head. "Please help me." Kuan Yue studied her carefully. "Unsealing this kind of power isn't a matter of days, and it will be painful. Think carefully." Xiufu's eyes were steady. "Whatever it costs. I want my strength back." Kuan Yue was surprised by her resolve. "Give me a few days to prepare. I'll send word." Xiufu smiled like a child. "Thank you, Grand Priest." Meanwhile, I was asking Daodu, "Is there any way I can go check on the other villains without Xiufu noticing I'm gone?" Daodu recommended a decoy doll. It could mimic my basic expressions and movements, answer simple questions from any villain. Low chance of being found out. Cost: 100 points per month. Subscription fee. I stared at him. I transmigrated into a fantasy world and still have to pay subscriptions? Decided to try 1 month. Tonight I'd make an excuse to go to my room and let the double cover for me. I needed to watch whether Kuan Yue used the ointment. That determined whether the third step of my plan could begin. I also had to keep an eye on Shi Tianrui. He'd find a way past her gate eventually. Daodu, your mind works well. An hour later Tsufu came home, beaming. She launched herself into my arms. Kuan Yue agreed to help unseal my power. I was about to celebrate with her, then she pulled back. Her expression changed. Why do you smell like the Grand Priest? My heart sank. Walked back from there and forgot to rinse off the scent. Daodu flashed an urgent notice. Negative emotional spike detected in Tsufu. Even fully redeemed, extreme jealousy could affect the mission. She wasn't saying anything. I didn't speak. Then her voice came out quiet. Did you go see Kuan Yue? I laughed a little, then turned away, slightly flustered. I didn't want to tell you. I was trying to help you break the seal faster. So I went with my best argument and the ointment. But you know she hates men. I barely got 2 words in before being thrown out. I'm useless, so I didn't want to say anything. Good thing you handled it yourself. Tsufu seized my hand. You went alone to see the Grand Priest. For me? She pressed her face against my arm and held on tight. I'm sorry. I suspected you. I exhaled. This task was genuinely brutal. After dinner I slipped to my room. Summoned the decoy doll. A perfect copy standing before me. Cover for me. Sleep first. Handle anything that comes up. The doll obediently climbed into the bed and closed its eyes. I was satisfied. Daodu teleported me to Kuan Yue's estate. At that moment she was in the rear courtyard soaking in the hot spring, head bowed, staring at old scars scattered across her skin. She ground her teeth and scrubbed at her arms, like she was trying to erase the past with her hands. I'd already found a spot on a rooftop watching in silence. Daodu detected her blackening value rising. She was thinking about those memories again. Lucky she got out before it went further. Then a splash. Something had dropped into the hot spring. A maid rushed to wrap a robe around Kuan Yue. Daodu said it was Shi Tianrui. I blinked. What was he trying to accomplish? Shi Tianrui clambered upright in the water. That jumping item's bounce radius was insane. Landed right in her pool. He scrambled to move, but a golden barrier had already locked around him. Kuan Yue, furious. Male, you have any idea what this place is? Shi Tianrui offered the story about passing by. Kuan Yue didn't believe a word. He yanked out the scar ointment in a panic. Grand Priest. I came specifically to bring you this ointment. Then he spent 3 seconds screaming internally at Shuiding for teleporting him into a hot spring. A golden spell array blazed to life around him. Kuan Yue's face was thunderous. This man has no legitimate reason to be here. Arrest him. Shi Tianrui's teleport activated. He vanished. Kuan Yue's command rang through the estate. Effective immediately. No male is to set foot in this compound without my personal approval. Anyone found in violation, throw them in the dungeon. I watched it all from the rooftop. Genuinely baffled. Daodu ventured. He probably made an error. Even protagonists have their off days. But maybe he was trying to make a dramatic entrance to get her attention? Daodu reconsidered. Actually, he's probably not that smart. She was such a genuinely kind person underneath everything. I had to help her. I had to show her the world still had good people in it. I began softly. The truth is, this involves a distant cousin of mine. I want to learn trade from him, but my family says a woman has no business leaving home. My father, to stop me, wants to marry me off to some old man. Kuan Yue slapped the table. That's outrageous. Following a relative to learn a trade, and he treats his own daughter this way. She pulled me gently into her arms. Don't be afraid. This is Yenshan City. I will not allow this to happen here. Go home first and talk to him directly. If he still won't listen, come back to me. I'll stand up for you. I thanked her warmly. Just talking with you, I feel so much better. Then I presented the scar ointment as a gift. Claimed my cousin made it himself, said it worked wonders. She seemed surprised and said I didn't have to. I was firm. Grand Priest, please accept it. My third step only works if you're willing to try it. I set it on the stone table, turned, and jogged away. Kuan Yue stepped out of the pavilion after me. Then stopped herself. She thought about the situation I described. Let out a quiet sigh. She looked back at the small bottle with complicated eyes. I was just about to leave the estate when Daodu flagged. Tsufu was nearby. He told me to hide fast. I threw myself behind a large tree. Tsufu and Chuanyi came walking down the path, here to discuss the unsealing. I waited until they'd passed and gone out of sight before slipping away. None of them noticed, or so I thought. Something in the shadows had seen everything. Inside, Tsufu and Chuanyi were escorted to the main hall. Tsufu knelt respectfully. Grand Priest, I ask your help in unsealing the power within me. Kuan Yue recognized the name. You're the Fox Clan princess. The Fox Clan fell long ago. I'm no princess anymore. Kuan Yue read the unspoken wish in her eyes. To revive her clan and avenge her family. Xufu bowed her head. Revenge for parents and kin is righteous. Please help me. Kuan Yue studied her carefully. Unsealing this kind of power is not a matter of days. And the process will be painful. Think carefully. Xufu's eyes were steady and clear. Whatever it costs. I want my strength back. Kuan Yue was quietly impressed. Give me a few days to prepare. I'll send word. Xufu smiled like a child who just gotten the best news in years. Thank you, Grand Priest. Meanwhile, I was asking Daodu, is there any way for me to check on the other villains? Without Xufu noticing I'm gone, Daodu recommended a decoy doll. It could mimic my expressions and basic movements, give simple answers if a villain spoke to it, though it carried some risk of being exposed. Cost: 100 points per month. Expires if you don't renew. I stared at him. I transmigrate into a fantasy world and still have to pay subscription fees? Fine. I try 1 month. Tonight after dinner I'd make an excuse to go to my room, and let the double handle things. I needed to know whether Kuan Yue used the ointment. That determined whether the third step could begin, and I still had to watch for sure Tianrui, he'd find a way eventually. Daodu complimented my thoroughness. An hour later Xufu came home and launched herself into my arms. Kuan Yue agreed to unseal my power. I was about to celebrate with her, then her expression shifted completely. Why do you smell like the Grand Priest? My stomach dropped. Came back from Chuanyue's and forgot to rinse off the scent. Daodu flashed urgent. Negative emotional spike detected in Xufu. Fully redeemed, but extreme jealousy could still derail the mission. She asked quietly, did you go see Kuan Yue? I laughed awkwardly, then looked away with faint embarrassment. I wasn't going to tell you. I wanted to help you get that seal removed sooner, so I went in your name with the ointment as an introduction. But you know how she feels about men. I barely got through the door. Said 2 sentences and got thrown out. I was useless, so I didn't want to say anything. Lucky you sorted it out yourself. Xufu grabbed my hand. You went alone to the Grand Priest. For me? She pressed herself against my arm, gripping tight. I'm sorry. I suspected you. I exhaled slowly. This villain redemption work was genuinely brutal. After dinner, while Xufu headed to her room, I called up the decoy doll from the system shop. Perfect copy appeared before me. Cover for me. Sleep first. Handle whatever comes up. The doll obediently climbed under the covers and closed its eyes. Satisfied, I had Daodu teleport me to Chuanyue's estate. At that moment she was in the rear courtyard bathing in a hot spring, head lowered, staring at old scars scattered across her skin. She ground her teeth and scrubbed hard at her arms, like she was trying to wash away the past entirely. I'd already found a rooftop perch and was watching in silence. Daodu detected her blackening value rising. She was thinking about those memories again. At least she'd gotten out before the worst happened, and had made sure her abuser never got to try twice. Then a loud splash. Something dropped into the hot spring. A maid rushed to wrap Kuan Yue in a robe. Daodu, that was Shi Tianrui. I blinked in genuine disbelief. What was he trying to accomplish? Shi Tianrui scrambled upright in the water, sputtering. That jumping gadget had way too much bounce. Landed me right in her pool. He made to bolt before she got a clear look at his face, but a golden spell array blazed to life around him, locking him in place. Kuan Yue, fury burning in her eyes. You, male, do you know what this place is? Shi Tianrui claimed he'd just been passing by. Kuan Yue didn't believe a word. He panicked and yanked out the scar ointment. Grand Priest, I came specifically to deliver this to you. Internally he was screaming at Shuaiding for teleporting him into a hot spring. Shuaiding apologized weakly. The teleport places you near the target villain. I didn't know she'd be bathing. Kuan Yue was unmoved. She ordered her guards to seize this suspicious intruder. Shi Tianrui saw things turning against him fast. Emergency teleport triggered. He vanished from the spring in an instant. Kuan Yue issued a new standing order through the estate. Effective now, no male enters these grounds without my explicit permission. Anyone who does, straight to the dungeon. Up on the rooftop I watched it all with complete bewilderment. What was Shi Tianrui even thinking? Daodu figured it was just a blunder. Didn't expect even the protagonist to make that kind of rookie mistake. Then again, maybe it was deliberate. Maybe crashing into her spring was a calculated way to make an impression. Either way, Daodu concluded he's probably not that clever.